Nowadays, when I go into YouTube, the first videos that I see are Wuthering Waves is better than Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact. Honkai Star Rail has a power creep issue, and Genshin is finally fined by the US government. And while I do think that negative videos are fine to a certain extent, I do think that there are moments where it has been taken too far, and I honestly do think that it will somehow, to an extent, ruin the experience for players. Hey guys, it's Kit here, and after taking quite a long break from making YouTube videos, I am finally back with a video on whether online communities are becoming too toxic for us to enjoy whatever we want to enjoy. I decided to make this video because I was still hesitant on whether I really regretted playing Genshin Impact. The reason for that was when I went into Genshin Impact just running around and doing absolutely nothing, I honestly found the experience to be enjoyable. You know, just sitting down in the opera epiclese and listening to the beautiful music that is unrivaled. Like, it's just so good, and no, Wuthering Waves music cannot compare to that. Fight me. But yeah, it's not when I sit down in Genshin doing absolutely nothing, just zooming into albedo as usual, I feel that the game is fine. When I played Honkai Star Rail without going and engaging in any community discussions, I actually enjoyed the story a lot, and it was coming from someone who literally made a video 5 months ago that the bad storytelling in Belobog ruined the experience for me. Do I still think Belobog sucks though? Yeah, but I just really love that nowadays when you play Honkai Star Rail, you have the option to choose the truth. You know, I love the interactions that we have with Acheron. It was so enjoyable, and I would date her and Black Swan at any day. So when I played all these games without engaging with the online community, I genuinely enjoyed it a lot. While a lot of people are complaining about how Honkai Star Rail is becoming a yap fest, I genuinely don't think that it's a problem. For example, when I was playing Xianzhou Luofu's story, I feel that it's a bit too short compared to Penacony. Like, I love that in Penacony, they really expounded from the NPCs to the puzzles that you saw, to the puzzles that you solve in the world. So something as small and trivial as pretending to be Hanu, I felt that that was so engaging and immersive. So when I see people online saying that, you know, Honkai Star Rail is being worse and Wuthering Waves is better, I'm like, no. Actually, I do think that the storytelling in Honkai Star Rail is better than Wuthering Waves. Hear me out. When I was playing the story and having to switch between the different perspective of the characters, I was genuinely overwhelmed, and I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? And I actually developed a connection to the characters. Whereas in Wuthering Waves, even though the world is very pretty, I suffered from two issues. Number one, it's pretty without giving me any substantial connection to the characters. And number two, if you play on a bad device, it really sucks. So nowadays, I feel like people are overhyping Wuthering Waves a bit too much. Like, sure, the gliding in Wuthering Waves is enjoyable, alright? It's cool. But if you were to fly from a low height, you're gonna crash into the ground. Whereas in Genshin, if you were to glide, you can smoothly, like, literally smoothly transverse onto the ground and land properly. Is it a skill issue? Yeah, it's probably a skill issue, but why would I need to buy a $3,000 computer just so that I'll be able to transverse properly? You know, in fact, I found that the boat in Wuthering Waves to be a bit clunky compared to the one in Genshin. Am I saying that Genshin is a better game compared to Wuthering Waves? No, but do I agree that there are some features that are better in Genshin? Yes, because I feel that when I rode the Sharky boat or the whale boat or whatever you call it, it was a bit clunky. Maybe it was my device, but I feel like it's not going at a steady pace like the boat in Genshin. You know, the boat in Genshin, it moves very slowly when you first start, and then when you accelerate, the whole thing will move. So in terms of those mechanics like jumping, swimming, I still feel that MiHoYo did much better. But do I agree that Rina Sita is good? Yes, Rina Sita is amazing. But is it fair to compare it to Fontaine? Honestly, I am not sure if is it fair, if it is fair to compare Fontaine with Renacita, because you have to understand that the game itself, they are very different, and I just feel like it's a little unfair to compare Wuthering Waves with Genshin so detailed. Like, I don't mind them comparing the general mechanics, but I feel like going down so as to compare region by region is a bit too much, because Fontaine is really good. I love the music over there, I love the landscapes, and I would not ask for anything else. I do agree though that the horns in Renacita, you know, like the statues with the horns and you walk, is amazing. But I'm not gonna lie, I am annoyed with the ads from Wuthering Waves, and I do think that it's being hyped too much. Now let's talk about the comparison between Wuthering Waves and Honkai Star Rail. That I honestly feel like is unjustified, because Honkai Star Rail is a completely different game altogether. There isn't even any transversal mechanics in Honkai Star Rail. So I feel like to compare other elements from Honkai Star Rail to Wuthering Waves and saying how like, oh, Wuthering Waves don't have a power creep issue, Honkai Star Rail has a power creep issue, is unfair. Because the thing is, Honkai Star Rail only has a power creep issue if you play the end game. Okay, to be specific, end game content. But if you want to clear like the bosses in Panaconi, you can clear it with your normal characters. Okay, I apologize if you don't have Jingyuan and you're having a hard time. But if you have Jingyuan as a new player, you will be able to clear Aventurine, because with the casual mode, so in Honkai Star Rail they have this thing where if the boss is too difficult for you in the main story, you will be able to lower the difficulty so that you can clear it. Have I got difficulty clearing the bosses so I can progress in the story? Yes, but do I find it enjoyable to grind for my characters in Honkai Star Rail? Yes, I actually do enjoy grinding in Honkai Star Rail, because clearing dailies is so easy. It literally takes me like at most 5 minutes, because I can take the support from my friends. I don't need to be like, hey guys, can you please join me to fight this boss, which is so nice. It's so nice. It's like, imagine you're fighting the Hydroculus. Fighting the Hydro Hypostasis, and you can just invite your friend over. You don't have to like type to them, wait for them to load in, wait for the matching thing. Like, it's so nice. It's so nice, and I love Honkai Star Rail for that. And let me not get started on picking flowers in Genshin and Wuthering Waves. That was a pain. Okay, I'll talk about it. It's like in Honkai Star Rail, if I were to find those little flowers, all I need to do is just fight some bosses, you know, put it to 6 and just max out my resin, and I am done, you know. But in Wuthering Waves, even though I'm very grateful for that like hand picking feature where they show you specifically where it is, finding the flowers in such a big open world with like no shiny, you know, like there's no shine or whatever that tells you like, hey, it's there, you know, it's a pain. Okay, and in Genshin it's even worse. So now Genshin has that flower compass. Very nice, but where are the flowers? They don't show it to me. So what did I do? I literally put Klee, Nahida, and Scaramouche just so I could farm the mushrooms for Mona. Was it a pain? Yes, because I took 1 hour to clear that. Was it as long in Wuthering Waves? Probably, yeah, because I had to fight bosses, and there are times that I'm just lost in the world, which is why I am so grateful that Honkai Star Rail has no transversal issues. Initially, I did not want to play Honkai Star Rail because I couldn't jump, I couldn't swim, I couldn't fly, but now I am so grateful for that, because if I cannot find the chest that is just right beneath me, it just means that I'm not using my brain. And honestly, I love that Honkai Star Rail's Panaconi has that owl thing where it's able to connect the world together, and it's inbuilt in the world itself. We had a similar mechanic in Genshin, but it was locked behind the 2.8 summer event, and it's just so nice clearing those puzzles without falling down every 3 seconds just because I'm stupid. So thank you Honkai Star Rail for not including transversal, because it makes the argument about transversal redundant. You know, like if you can't transverse in Honkai Star Rail, it's just because you're stupid. Okay, And another thing I want to add is Honkai Star Rail is so generous. Honestly, like I genuinely feel that I gain a lot more jades or primals. I'll just use primals. I gain a lot of primals from playing Honkai Star Rail than if I were to play Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact, because in Genshin I have to grind the overworld quest, I need to solve puzzles just to get it, I need to go on YouTube just to see how to solve the puzzles. And in Wuthering Waves, honestly, some of the puzzles feels like it's just there for service, literally for fan service. Like if you have nothing to do, you're bored, you just clear the puzzle. But I like that in Honkai Star Rail, there's not much of this issue. For example, in Penacony, when you clear the puzzle, it's really so that you can unlock another part of the dreamscape that helps you to continue on. And honestly, even though I had a really hard time as Hanu and fighting the bosses, I had so much fun. I really love Hanu as a character, and I love Clocky. I love that in Honkai Star Rail you're able to switch the expressions of the characters. And I love that they also expanded the number of resin for your daily grind to 300. I'm not sure why no one talked about that, but they actually increased the resin limit from 260 to 300, which is so generous because now I can grind for even more characters. And can I mention that the refill time is so short that I could just rest for 24 hours and get back to it again. Honkai Star Rail is so generous. I have never grinded so much chests, so many chests, over the span of 3 days, I think I've opened like 50%, 20%, I'm not sure. In Genshin, I don't even think I unlocked that many chests in 1 or 2 days. But in Honkai Star Rail, I see a chest, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's mine. I remember when I was in Central Luofu, I wasn't able to get a chest, but again, that's because I'm stupid. Grinding chests, grinding for artifacts, grinding for the bosses is so easy in Honkai Star Rail. So honestly, for their stories to be a bit longer so they can expound on the story, it's not really an issue for me. Though I must say I did get a little bored playing Aventurine's story, alright. I did get a little bit bored. I did fall asleep because I find the talk between Rachel and Aventurine to be so boring. But did I enjoy the rest of the story? Yes, I did. I genuinely did, and I played the game so much from 100% to 2%. So I feel like the negativity regarding Honkai Star Rail is honestly unjustified and biased in my opinion. Like if you haven't tried Wuthering Waves, I feel like the storytelling is fine. And even after playing Wuthering Waves, I feel that the story is fine. Okay, like the storytelling in Honkai Star Rail is not that bad. Okay, some people complain about the black words and white black screen and white text, but I feel like there are certain moments where they use that for like the sense of mysterious, like for example when Acheron was talking about her destroying, like when Sunday was asking Aventurine, spoilers, if he wants to destroy the world, it blanks out into a black screen and then white words appear. I feel like for that part it's fine. I think some people are demanding a lot of animations, and I feel that some of them are fine even if you don't include them because they don't really change the experience. Do I wish that they showed a cutscene of what happened to Aventurine though? Yes, I do. I honestly do. I really want to see them drawing like Aventurine kneeling before his boss with no face and he's just bound in shackles with like blood dripping. I would love to see that. I'm not gonna lie, I would love to see that because when they included the scene of like Acheron and this demon boss thingy, it was so immersive. I loved the art for that. Okay, it made me love Acheron even more. It made me love Acheron even more. So basically I feel like all the quests in Honkai Star Rail really helps me to understand the characters deeper to another level. And so for the negativity to be because it's a bit too long, I just feel like they're not really immersing themselves because Wuthering Waves has a skip button. You know what? Now I'm actually grateful that there's no skip button for those essential scenes, because it really forces me to read the words and listen to the characters. And if I feel impatient, I can just click and then just read and then just go on. I really enjoyed that. So Honkai Star Rail, I don't have many complaints. I love it. It's my favorite gacha game right now. And I feel that, on the contrary, I feel that Wuthering Waves is getting overhyped with all the ads, people comparing the Honkai Star Rail. Like, please, don't compare it to Honkai Star Rail, okay? If you don't have a good device to play Wuthering Waves, it's worse than Genshin and Honkai Star Rail, objectively. You know, and this is from someone who is playing on potato devices. I can run Genshin and Honkai Star Rail smoothly enough, but I cannot for the life of me play Wuthering Waves. So yeah, I'm not gonna buy a new device just so that I can play it, you know. Now let's talk about my issue within the community, since I've yapped a lot about the negative space on YouTube. So the thing is, the reason why I've taken a break from talking about Genshin and drawing Genshin is because of the negative experiences that I have in the space. Again, I'm gonna reinforce this. I do not mind if people are negative about stuff just so that it will improve. For example, if people were to complain about Genshin not fixing that flower thing, and I still have to use characters from the region that have the ability to show me where the local goods are, I would agree with that. And I fully, wholeheartedly agree with the fact that you know, Genshin is now being sued by the US government because they basically deceived children and adults alike. I agree with that, and I do not think at all that it's the parents' fault, because if you made your system to be predatory, then you should be fined for being predatory. I think the US government did an amazing job on that part, and I do not see any reason why people should justify them. Do I agree with the people calling out Doro and Mr. Pokey for defending them? Yes, because if this attitude were to continue, Genshin would still think that they are right. But if more and more people come to say that it's not correct, then Genshin would actually, like the developers of Genshin would actually feel like they have to do something to improve. I mean, the fact is that Genshin did improve because of Wuthering Waves. Wuthering Waves is a genuine competitor compared to Genshin right now, and I think because of that, Genshin is really actively working to improve that game, and I can see some improvements, but it just makes me sad that they didn't add the alchemy button, but I'll talk about that next time. You know, so back to the main point. I agree that negative criticisms need to exist. I am not saying that negative criticisms shouldn't exist, you know, and your game should be all sunshine and rainbows. I don't think that, because if you just think that the game is perfect, it doesn't need to be better, then you're just being delusional. However, I think that if it's something between opinions, then there's no need for us to lash out on each other like that. You know, for example, I was just saying how Genshin's clothing is not culturally accurate and appropriate, and I got called the N-word, and I have people saying that I'm a 14-year-old Western girl pretending to be Asian, and I was offended because I am in fact Asian, and no, I'm not a child if they cannot tell. And I have people telling me that I can't draw heads for my Kazuha redesign and stuff like that when they literally have an AI profile picture. So yeah, you get the point. I feel like there has to be a time where negative criticisms shouldn't exist at all. You know, especially for little things like this. Saying that Genshin is not culturally appropriate doesn't mean that you can't disagree. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't disagree with my take. You can say that Genshin is culturally accurate and try to prove your point. You know, however, to offend me and be disrespectful to me just like this, and people defending people who are being negative is just unacceptable. Okay, and I had that experience in the Genshin OC X canon community where there's a lot of misinformation and miscommunication going on. People assuming that I'm the bad person when the bad people are in fact the people who didn't clarify my intent. So yeah, going out your way to defend all these bad actions, digging out my AI references from 2024 just so that you can kick me out of your collab is insane. Like, I get it, you're not happy that I say that Kid is trying to be the best in the OCX canon realm. Maybe you're not okay with that because you feel insecure. Like, you can just tell me in my face that I'm making you feel insecure. I will apologize for that. But just because I didn't talk to the people like in the chat immediately, I was hated? Like, no one, the people that are offended didn't even come to me until 3 days later, and I even had an outsider who had nothing to do with the collab come to me just because they had the same OCX canon ship. Okay, they are also an Albedo X OC shipper, and even though I do want my ship to be better than them, my story to be better than them, this is still not how I wanted things to go. Like, it's so bad that I made 2 public posts on my Instagram about this issue because, again, like I said, I'm not expecting everyone to agree with me, and I can understand that disagreements and misinformation and miscommunication happen. However, when that thing happen, it shouldn't be just it shouldn't be just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna let it go and not do anything about it. The thing is, the event from the wedding collab happened in 2024. It happened in 2024, and because I didn't want to make a huge fuss about it, I gave myself 2 weeks time to really think through on whether I needed to make a public post about it. And if it's not for me making a public post about it, people will just act as if this problem never happened, because even though the people in the collab are like, oh no, we won't support our friend for doing something wrong, no one gave me the closure I needed. The closure that I was given was literally when I made a public post about it. And this didn't just happen to me as well, where words are just taken out of context. I saw a YouTube short today about how Jing Yuan's VA voice actor was also being accused of being weird just because he was happy that his spouse, his wife, was voicing this child character from Honkai Star Rail. He literally stated that he will like E6 the character because his wife voiced it, and people mistook it as he is saying that he wants to get that character because that little character is his wife, which is insane. Like, it's literature and understanding of English just like non-existent right now on the internet, because I feel like we are throwing each other around for no reason. Again, I will reinforce this. If someone were to do something bad like animal abuse, human abuse and stuff like that, manipulation, I can understand why people call them out. Okay, but for these things where you insult someone, pretend that it doesn't happen, and then continue to accuse them, I think that that's unacceptable. Because on my side of the story, the person was saying, so there was this user, let's name them Aki. Aki was saying how I used Chinese references for my Kazuha redesign when I literally had a live proving that I use Japanese references. Even if you don't like me saying that I want my ship to be better and I was being disrespectful to your friend, it doesn't warrant me this kind of treatment. And so because of this, I am genuinely hesitating to continue to draw Genshin because, number one, I do not want to stay in the Genshin space. Even though playing Genshin itself is harmless, it does no wrong to anyone, but engaging in the community and drawing Genshin characters makes me feel like I'm okay with whatever happened when I'm not. Okay, I'm not okay with whatever happened, especially if the people involved didn't even apologize to me and try to justify themselves. And number two, it's also because Instagram is horrible. It does not reward you for whatever you're doing. At least on YouTube, there are people who defended my cause. So thank you, people on YouTube. Thank you to my audience for being so kind and understanding. Thank you for not being the fools that I've experienced on Instagram, and I'm just really genuinely grateful for your support. However, because I really don't want to be in the Genshin space anymore, I am very hesitant, even if I were to continue playing Genshin, even if I were to continue drawing Genshin in private, I do not know if I still want to post it, because I feel like the more I post all this content, the more negativity is going around, and I really don't want it to be a case when I draw Albedo X Luna again and then people are like, oh, so this is the lady that got like beef with other people. So yeah, I am taking a hiatus from Instagram at the moment, and I genuinely want to redesign the characters in Genshin, but because of whatever happened, I am very hesitant. I also have some art on Dance Slave X Alecino that I have not posted, but now I'm very reluctant to post it because, again, like I said, I really don't want to engage in the community anymore. I actually do want to draw Honkai Star Rail characters. I really want to draw OCX canon, as in OCX Honkai Star Rail characters, but I again am hesitant. No, I have never drawn Honkai Star Rail characters before because I wanted to give myself time to get used to the characters. But I am also fearful for this thing where if one day I were to face the same toxicity in Honkai Star Rail, would I eventually stop drawing the characters because of that? I get it. Some people say that it's my own issue. I cannot deal with the negativity. But I just feel like it's unjustified and there's no one to defend my cause, which is why I'm feeling so left out and alone right now. Like, if someone or anyone were to just defend for my cause, saying that Kid didn't mean whatever she said and we are being too harsh on her, that would have changed everything. But the fact is, no one did that for me in the Genshin OCX canon collab, and let's not talk about the whole predator, me being labeled as a predator and the Genshin collab. I mean, I decided to stop talking about that since the host actually apologized to me about 2 days ago, and I forgive them for that. I don't feel like I should hold on to any of these grudges if they genuinely apologize. However, I feel like if they move on with their life thinking that they're correct and they don't need to be accountable for their actions, then I don't want to be in a space with this kind of people. I want to be in a space where people are mature and they actually talk things out in a mature way instead of just shoving the blame onto one person. I'm not saying that I'm right all the time. I have my own mistakes as well, but I don't think that I've made such a grave mistake to warrant such treatment. I'll give an example. If today I were to be someone who draws like predatory content, actual predatory content, like adults, child, I draw this kind of inappropriate, unacceptable stuff and I receive backlash, I could understand that. But today I am just saying that I don't think that Genshin's clothing is culturally accurate or appropriate, and that I want to be the best Albedo X OC creator because I am genuinely passionate about my ship, and yeah, because of all these incidents, I refuse to engage in the Genshin OCX canon collab anymore. I will stay around to kind of like deal with my own collab since I'm the host. And speaking of which, there was one person that actually came into my own collab to spam the chats, like to spam whatever happened in those other collabs as well as in the DMs, even though I promised them that I would not reveal anything. So they literally broke my trust and they didn't keep their word. Even though I kept my word, I didn't talk about them at all after making the post private, and yet they went out of their way to harass me even in my own chat. But long story short, I removed them from my collab, and thankfully my mates were understanding and they unfollowed the person afterwards. Do I think that all this drama are unwanted? Yeah, I do really think so, and I just hope that maybe in the future people will be much better, because yeah, whatever happens is honestly unacceptable, and I will not be talking about anything bad regarding Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, or Wuthering Waves. I mean, I I might make a video on how I feel about Wuthering Waves and why I feel that it's overhyped nowadays. But let me know what you guys think. And again, if you stuck around for so long, thank you so much for listening to my rants and complain. I wish you all the best, and let me know if I'm missing out anything. Let me know if there's anything that I've said wrongly. Let me know if you disagree with anything. Just know that if you're going to be negative, I have the rights to remove you. Okay? For those people who are supportive, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!